think some of the doctrine I thought I knew my whole life. And so I found, you test everything. And so the dreams we had, I was like, okay, I'm going to look in the Bible, see if they're in there. And if it's in the Bible, then I know it's from God. And so I actually have a list of scriptures here. Here my little pad of actually verses I found that totally back everything up. The other video I made was pretty long. And so I'm going to and there were a couple of details I forgot to throw in there too. So I'm going to give a quick synopsis of her dream, the 2 dreams she had for my daughter, and she's young. And, the 2 dreams she's had, and then kind of just share the scriptures that I found to back up what she told me. Because when you hear what she dreamt about, you may dismiss it if you, like I did, had predisposed ideas of what God's kingdom is like or what certain doctrines are. So listen with an open mind. I would just encourage you to listen with an open mind and then look in the scriptures and read these yourself. And I'll list them in the video so that you can actually read them yourself also. And I'll have them here in the video for you. So real quick, so I got my Bible here too. And of course, it's my daughter's pink Bible. First thing was my daughter's never had a dream. Like, I know some kids have nightmares in the middle of the night and they'll have a nightmare, run to their mom, say, oh, I had a nightmare. That's never been my child, like ever. And so she's never been a dreamer. But it kind of runs in our family. On my dad's side, we'll kind of have dreams. It's like a spiritual gift. We'll have dreams and then things will happen. But yeah, my daughter never had a dream. And we're in this car because I'm disabled and this Uber guy's driving us. And she's like, Mom, I got to tell you something. And I'm like, okay. And she said, I have to share a dream with you. I'm like, okay. And the Uber guy's kind of laughing, looking at me. And but she goes and gets the sweetest, her face just completely changed. She just had this adoration and this love for the Lord, just beaming through her. And I'd never seen her like this. And she was so sincere. And she just said, and this is 3:00 in the afternoon. And she just said as clear as day, Mom, God showed me some things. And I'm like, what? My mouth dropped and I just couldn't wait to hear what she continued to say. And I'm like, okay. And she says, Mom, God showed me part of heaven. And at this point I'm thinking, this is crazy, really? And she said that she saw God's throne. And I asked her, I was like, did you see God? And she's like, yeah, kinda, not really. She couldn't explain what he looked like, but I guess she just saw an image or just knew it was him and heard his voice. She specifically heard him talking to her. And he told her that was his throne. And then she said everything was colorful. It was all rainbow. And it was so beautiful, she said. And then she said there was a place above his throne. And of course, she's using little kid words. So she says, Mom, it's above his throne. And she said it has nothing. It has no windows, no doors. It's empty. There's nothing in there. And I was like, well, is it a room? And she's like, no. She's like, there's nothing. And she said, but God goes there to rest. And she said, do you know why, Mom? And of course, I don't. And she says, and this is the wisdom of the Spirit of God right here. She says, Mom, it's because he's always creating everything. So he goes to rest where there's nothing. And I'm just blew my mind. At this point, the Uber guy, I think it believed in God, but I don't think it was something he was really thinking about. So he was just dumbfounded. I think in that moment he just became converted. I think it was just incredible. But so he heard my daughter saying all this. Well, she continues on. And she tells me that she saw God's throne. She saw above his throne. And she said that, and this is where it gets really interesting. She told me that God knew everything. But she said that God knows more than Jesus and God knows more than all of us, more than Satan, which I'd always known. But this is where we have to listen with the Spirit of God and test everything. Because she said to me, she said, but Mom, God told me he doesn't know everything. And I said, well, what do you mean? Like, God knows everything. And she's like, well, yeah, he knows the future, the past. He knows more than we do. He knows more than Satan does. He knows more than Jesus does. He knows more than everybody. She said, but even he said he doesn't know everything. And she said, but do you know why him and Jesus know more than anybody? And I said, why? And she said, because they've read the ancient, she said ancient books in heaven, but I'm pretty sure she said ancient holy books in heaven. But she said that they had read these books in heaven that Satan had never read yet. And that's why they knew more than everybody else. And that was just incredible, because I'd never spoken about any of this with my daughter. And I had actually found a guy on YouTube that had said that he had been shown some things in heaven, and that there were books in heaven that Father had read and Jesus had read that no one else had read, and that's why they had known more than Satan did in this one council that he saw in heaven. So that was really amazing that my daughter said that. So I went to Scripture, obviously, to see if I could find out anything about what my daughter had dreamt. But this was her first dream that she had. And the second dream was much more long and detailed. But this was her very first one. Oh, the other part that I forgot to mention. Her first dream, she said she saw God's throne and everything. But she also saw a part of the earth. And I don't know if this happens before or after her second dream. But she said that she saw us on the earth, me and her and like our family, everyone we knew. And she said that, like, you know, outside, pretty much like the ground, everywhere around the house, everything was crumbling and that everything was on fire. Like, pretty much everything was going to pieces. And she said that as this is happening, that we were being protected. And that, and I said, what do you mean? And she said, we weren't burning. She said, we weren't even hot. We couldn't feel it. And she said that she thought we were running from the fire. But then she realized we were floating. And I asked her if we were like flying. And she said, no, Mom, like floating like this, like just a little bit above the ground. So here's my table, a little bit above the ground. And she said that as we're floating, she said she saw 2 portals open in the sky. Now, I had never heard her say the word portal in her life. So when she said portal, I was like, what? She had never said that word before. And so she said there were 2 portals that opened up. And she described them as more circular, but they opened up in the sky. And she said she saw one that was all colorful, like a rainbow. But that Jesus' face filled up the entire circle, this entire portal. That is, she said his face was so big, it filled the entire portal. And then she said another one opened up. And that one was Satan, she said, and that one was scary looking. And she said that she heard God say that we had to choose where we wanted to go. And basically we had to pick, we had to choose which one we wanted. And she said that at that point, we actually started to like fly. And she was like so excited about this. She was like so happy about this. But she said that angels came down on white horses. And they came down and picked us up and brought us up to the clouds with Yeshua, with Jesus. And that we were up there. And she said everybody was there. Everybody that loved Jesus was there. She saw our family members there. She saw some of our friends there. But part of the reason why I'm posting these videos now is because there were people she did not see there. And there are people that we care about and that we love. And so I'm hoping that if they can hear the dreams she's had and maybe see the Bible verses behind them, that maybe her dream could change. Maybe they'll actually be there. She said that not everybody went up. She said that there were people that were left behind. And she said that the people that were left behind, that bad things were going to happen on the earth. That Satan was going to be on the earth. Okay, so I guess it happens before her second dream. But needless to say, that was the extent of the detail that she gave me, but she just could not believe that we were not burning. Like, the way she described it was just that everything was crumbling. Like, you know, and you see in movies where the whole ground starts going like crumbling way far away towards you. It was like that, she said, like just like a movie. So that was her first dream, and you think that could just not be enough, but her second dream was so much more. But this first dream, I want to go over some scriptures I found that were pretty awesome. The first one was in Revelations 10:1. Bear with me, I am not good at this. Okay, I might not be able to read all these to you guys. But Revelations 10:1 basically talked about the rainbow around God's throne. And then also Revelations chapter 4, verse 1. And let me see if I can at least turn to chapter 4. Okay, so it says that after this I looked, and there was a door open in heaven. And the Coral called it the portal. And I heard a voice that spoke to me and said, "Come up here and I will show you what will happen after this." Then it says the Spirit took control of me. There before me it was a throne in heaven, and someone was sitting on the throne. The one who sat on the throne looked like precious stone, like jasper and carnelian. All around the throne was the rainbow, the color of emeralds. Around the throne there were other thrones. And I thought that was amazing because that's what my daughter said. She said that she saw that there was a rainbow. And also, the one part too that I may have forgotten to mention, she said that when Jesus' face filled the whole portal for heaven, she actually said that everyone heard God say you had to choose where you want to go. But she also said that you could see God's face in the cloud. Like, you could see, like, the cloud made the shape of his face. Like, to the detail where you could see his eye even, or his nose or his mouth, but it was the cloud itself. And I thought that was just amazing because, you know, the Israelites, it talks in the Bible about how they were in the wilderness and they saw the Lord as a pillar of a cloud. And, I mean, that's how she described it. She saw God as a cloud, but like huge. But she saw Jesus' face as a person. And so I thought that was pretty amazing. So there was that scripture. And then the part where, the foundations of the earth. And 1 Samuel, Craig, I didn't write down which verse. Sorry about that. But in 1 Samuel, I'll have to find it now. But in 1 Samuel, there is a scripture that talks about the foundation and the pillars of the earth being that foundation. And, I forgot to mention, I'm so sorry. I forgot to mention that when my daughter said that God goes to this place to rest, which is above his throne, which has nothing in it, and it's empty. He goes there to rest. She said specifically that it was, and she didn't know the word, but she said, "Mom, it's the thing that's under everything." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I thought you said it was above the throne." And she's like, "Yeah, but like, Mom, like a house, like it's the bottom of the house." And I said, "The foundation?" She said, yeah, Mom, that is the foundation. So God's resting place above his throne is the foundation for the earth. She said everything hangs on it. So, which is amazing because he's the center of everything. But, so in Samuel here where it talks about the foundation of the earth and the pillars of the earth, it's literally not below the earth. It's above the earth. So I thought that was really cool. It comes from God's resting place above his throne. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then I wanted to just go over Isaiah 22:23. I thought this was pretty incredible. And I'll end with this.